You are Megalonyx, the great claw, a giant ground sloth standing not on your toes, but on the very edge of history's deepest, most forgotten secrets. Right now, you're not in your bed, tucked under the blankets. You are here in a forest that smells of damp earth and strange leafy things you don't have names for. The air is thick and cool, the moonlight a liquid silver that filters through a canopy of trees that no longer exist. You are immense. Picture a grizzly bear. Now make it 3 times the weight, with forelimbs so long they could easily reach the high branches of a small tree, and claws like curved daggers dull from a lifetime of pulling and tearing. You're not lumbering. You're a slow-motion mountain moving through the undergrowth. Your fur is a thick, matted pelt, a natural winter coat of coarse, reddish-brown hair that's probably home to a few harmless insects and a whole ecosystem of your own. You're a plant eater, a gentle colossus. Your diet is a mix of leaves, twigs, and maybe some fruits if you're lucky enough to find them. The world around you isn't one of constant terror. It's a world of routine, of slow, deliberate movements. You shuffle from one patch of vegetation to the next, your great head swinging from side to side, your blunt, powerful teeth grinding away at whatever you can pull down. It's a simple life. Wake, eat, amble, sleep. There are no grocery stores, no social media, just the primal, beautiful rhythm of existence. You've never had a stressful Monday morning meeting or worried about your phone battery. You are a creature of pure, unadulterated presence. But you're not alone. The forest hums with life, with things that are just as strange and forgotten as you are. A saber-toothed cat might be watching you from a distance, but you're so massive that you're not really on its menu, not for a casual snack at least. You're more of an inconvenience than a meal. A younger one might be tempted, but a full-grown Smilodon would probably see you as a lot of work for a tough, low-calorie meal. You're the equivalent of a slightly intimidating, very fluffy minivan. Historians still argue whether the giant ground sloths were truly solitary creatures or if they lived in the loose family groups, but you feel a comfortable solitude. The quiet is a companion, a soft blanket of sound, the rustle of leaves, the snap of a twig under your own foot, the distant bellow of a mastodon. This is your kingdom, and you are its slow, magnificent monarch. You've walked this path countless times. You know the best trees to strip, the safest places to sleep. The world feels steady, reliable. You're a product of deep time, a direct descendant of much smaller tree-dwelling sloths, a fact that might feel a little embarrassing if you were capable of embarrassment. Imagine your distant cousin, a tiny, adorable sloth from the Amazon clinging to a branch and moving at a snail's pace. Now imagine you, this monumental being lumbering through a frosty forest. It's like comparing a Chihuahua to a Great Dane, but on a geological scale. It's a reminder of how evolution over millions of years can take a good idea and just supersize it. This mainstream historical fact, the evolution from arboreal to terrestrial giants, is a cornerstone of paleontology, a story told in the fossil record. And you are living it. Now here's a quirky tidbit for you. It's thought that the giant ground sloths, because of their size and slow metabolism, had a surprisingly low body temperature, maybe a little cooler than a modern bear. So you're kind of a walking slow-motion refrigerator, which is probably a good thing considering all that thick fur. You're never really in a hurry not to get anywhere and not to get warm. The world moves at your pace. And your pace is, well, it's a pace of its own. As you trudge, you feel the familiar rhythm of the earth beneath you. This is your home. This is your time. But the air is just a little colder than it was a century ago. The nights are a little longer. A few of the trees you've always known seem a bit brittle. And though you don't have the words for it, there is a quiet geological shift happening, a breath being held deep and cold. You feel the first faint tremor of something monumental on the horizon, something that will change this landscape and your life forever. The cold you feel isn't just a chilly breeze, it's the quiet breath of a colossal force. You are living in the Pleistocene, a time of giants and ice. As you trudge through the forest, the very ground you walk on is a thin green blanket over an epochal deep freeze. Glaciers, vast and slow-moving, are the true rulers of this world. They are continent-sized mountains of frozen water grinding their way south, remaking the very face of the earth with the patience of a stone. You don't think about them as a geological phenomenon, of course. You just feel the cold that radiates from them, a constant, low-level thrum of chill that makes the air crisp and your fur essential. Imagine your most frigid winter day, the kind where your breath plumes in front of you like a startled ghost. Now imagine that feeling stretched over thousands of years, a baseline for existence. That's the world you inhabit. The days are a little shorter, the sun hangs a little lower, and the frost on the leaves in the morning takes just a little longer to melt away. This isn't a sudden, dramatic plunge into an ice age. It's a slow, deliberate tightening of the world's thermostat. One day, a patch of snow you've always seen melt in the spring just doesn't. Then another patch and another. The effect is cumulative, relentless. This is a mainstream historical fact that is the centerpiece of the epoch you are living in, the cyclic advance and retreat of massive continental ice sheets. The landscape is a patchwork of familiar and alien. You see the ancestors of modern pines, the skeletal fingers of trees that would one day be called willows. But there are also plants that have no modern equivalent. Their broad leaves and strange fruits, now just a whispered memory in the fossil record. It's like looking at a slightly distorted photo of a place you know where the colors are all off and the buildings are all wrong. The forest floor is a rich carpet of decay and new growth. But there's a hardness to it, a subtle shift in the soil that speaks of colder temperatures and shorter growing seasons. Your massive body is a testament to this world. A smaller creature would struggle to retain enough heat. You, with your thick hide and insulated fur, are built for this. Your metabolism is slow, a kind of internal biological slowness that mirrors the pace of the glaciers. This helps you conserve energy to make do with a diet that isn't always the most nutrient-dense. You aren't built for speed or for a quick, frantic chase. You are built for endurance, for patience, for a life that unfolds at a geological pace. You're a kind of walking, breathing time capsule. Historians still argue whether the megalonyx migrated seasonally to avoid the worst of the cold, or simply hunkered down finding shelter in caves or dense pockets of forest. For you, the answer is a little of both. You follow the food, a slow, meandering pilgrimage that takes you toward the sun when it's at its weakest. You feel the pull of warmer climates, not as a conscious decision, but as an instinctual urge, a subtle compass in your bones that points south. It's not a frantic journey. It's a dignified shuffle, a steady, deliberate movement that takes months, even years. Here's a quirky tidbit. The giant ground sloths, including your kind, are thought to have been surprisingly adept climbers when they were younger and smaller. Imagine a baby ground sloth the size of a modern dog clambering up a tree to escape a predator, its little claws working furiously. Then imagine you, a creature the size of a Volkswagen, trying to do the same. It's a funny mental image, isn't it? The sheer improbability of it all. You're past that stage, of course. You are an immovable object and the world just kind of moves around you. You are a landlubber now, firmly planted on the earth, your great claws better suited for digging for roots or pulling down branches than for scaling a trunk. As you pause to strip the leaves from a low-hanging branch, you can hear the distant groaning roar of an ice sheet shifting. It's a sound that travels through the ground, a deep vibration that rattles through your chest. It's a sound of immense power, and for a brief, fleeting moment you feel a kind of humble awe, a sense of your own smallness in the face of such a patient, unrelenting force. You're not scared of it, not really. It's just part of the world, like the sun or the moon. But you know deep down that a world ruled by ice is a world that is not going to last forever. And neither you realize, will you? Your world is a vast open-air grocery store, and you, with your massive frame and slow-moving rhythm, are a connoisseur of the low-hanging fruit and leaves. You're not a hunter, you're a gatherer on a geological scale. Foraging isn't a frantic search for a meal. It's a slow, deliberate act, a kind of walking meditation that defines your entire existence. The forest is a menu written in bark and leaf, and your great claws, so often misjudged as weapons, are actually your finest culinary tools. They are perfect for stripping bark from trees, for uprooting tough, fibrous plants, and for pulling down the heavy, woody branches that no other creature can reach. You move toward a clump of what you know is a particularly tasty species of cypress. Its needles are tough, but they're packed with nutrients, a kind of ancient superfood. You rear up on your hind legs, a movement that seems impossibly slow and deliberate, and suddenly you are a towering behemoth, a 10-foot-tall wall of fur and muscle. The earth shudders under your weight. With a gentle but firm tug, you pull a whole branch down to your mouth, your powerful jaw grinding away at the bounty. It's not a frenzied feast. It's a methodical consumption, a slow-motion dining experience. Remember that you're a hindgut fermenter, a bit like a modern horse. This is a mainstream historical fact that explains your diet and your digestive system. Essentially, you have a massive colon where microbes work tirelessly to break down tough plant cellulose into usable energy. It's a beautifully efficient system for your lifestyle, allowing you to extract maximum nutrition from a low-quality diet. You don't need prime cuts of anything. You are a master of turning roughage into life. This is why you're so big. You need a huge body to house that huge fermentation factory. It's a trade-off. You get to eat a lot of stuff other animals ignore, but you have to be big and slow to make it work. Now for a quirky tidbit. There's a hypothesis that some of the giant ground sloths might have been opportunistic omnivores, occasionally snacking on eggs or even small vertebrates if the opportunity presented itself. You don't feel a particular urge for meat, but a nest of bird eggs left unguarded. The thought of it, a quick protein boost in the middle of a cold season, does have a certain appeal. It's a reminder that survival in this harsh, unforgiving world sometimes requires a little culinary improvisation. It's not a preference, but it's an option, like when you're at a party and you're mostly a salad person, but the pigs in a blanket are right there. Historians still argue whether the presence of specific plants in the fossilized sloth dung, or coprolites, as they're elegantly called, indicates a preference for those plants or simply their availability. Your diet is a mystery written in fossilized poop, a kind of ancient geological food diary. You don't think about this, of course. You just eat what tastes good and what's available. It's a very practical, non-academic approach to life. You're a practical-minded creature, a philosopher of food. A distant sound catches your attention, a kind of high-pitched chittering noise that seems to come from all around. It's a flock of large, flightless birds, maybe something akin to the terror birds that once roamed this continent. They are a blur of feathers and speed, a stark contrast to your own slow, deliberate pace. They are frantic, always on the move, always looking for a meal. You look at them with a kind of gentle, sleepy pity. They're like that one friend who's always stressed out about a deadline. You, on the other hand, have all the time in the world. You've got nothing but time. As the sun begins to set, casting long purple shadows through the trees, you find a secluded, sheltered spot at the base of a massive rock outcrop. You settle your great body down a slow, deliberate lowering of your colossal form. The ground is cold, but your fur and your sheer mass insulate you from the worst of it. The world falls quiet again, and you drift into a deep, heavy slumber, a dreamless sleep that is as old and as deep as the earth itself. You are a living monument, a walking forest, a gentle giant taking a much-needed nap. As you wake, the world is a stage set for giants. Your own kind, the Pau megalonyx, are just one of many colossal stars in this Ice Age drama. You lift your great head, shaking the sleep from your thick fur, and take in the panorama. A nearby herd of mastodons moves through a clearing, their shaggy coats and long curving tusks a familiar sight. They're like walking four-legged bulldozers clearing paths through the trees with their sheer bulk. They are family friends, not rivals. You give them a wide, lumbering berth, a kind of unspoken agreement between two slow-moving titans. They eat some of the same plants as you, but there's more than enough to go around. No need for any awkward standoffs over the last edible shrub. You also catch a distant glimpse of something truly magnificent, a woolly mammoth. It's a behemoth of a different flavor, larger and more imposing than the mastodons, a creature of the open tundra and not the deep forest. It's covered in an even thicker coat of reddish-brown hair, and its tusks are a beautiful sweeping curve, a perfect crescent moon of ivory. This is a mainstream historical fact that highlights the diversity of megafauna in the Pleistocene. The mammoths and mastodons lived concurrently, but they occupied different ecological niches. The mastodons were more common in the forests of North America, like yours, while the mammoths were kings of the colder, more open grasslands. It's a subtle distinction that defined their whole existence. But these are just the herbivores. The world is also home to predators that make your shaggy fur stand on end, even if you're too big to be their first choice. Remember that saber-toothed cat, the Smilodon. You might see one now, a magnificent hunter with a short tail and those impossibly long canines watching from the top of a rock. It's a creature of silent power and terrifying grace. It's not a threat to you directly or a fortress of bone and muscle. But you know its power. Its preferred meals are smaller, faster prey, like the wild horses or camelids that also roam this land. It's a polite acknowledgement of its place in the ecosystem. I won't eat you, but please don't step on me. For a quirky tidbit, historians still argue whether some of these larger megafauna, like the giant ground sloths, might have been capable of a form of rudimentary tool use. Not in the complex way of humans, of course, but maybe using a stick to pull a branch closer or a rock to dislodge a particularly stubborn root. It's a fringe theory, but it's a fun thought. You, the immense lumbering beast, secretly a genius with a stick. It makes you feel a little more sophisticated, doesn't it? As if you're not just a hairy lawnmower, but a hairy lawnmower with a plan. You feel a sense of your place in this grand menagerie. You're a part of the landscape, a walking hillock in a world of hills. You're not the fastest, you're not the fiercest, but you are a survivor. You've outlasted countless generations of smaller, quicker things. Your slow, deliberate pace is not a weakness. It is a strength. It allows you to conserve energy, to endure the long, cold nights and the lean winters. You are a testament to the power of slowness, the triumph of patience over speed. Your great body, this vast living fortress, is an adaptation to this specific world. Your thick hide and fur keep the cold at bay. Your powerful claws can fend off a smaller predator or, as we've seen, pull down a branch for a meal. You are a self-contained ecosystem, a slow-moving monument to a time that is already imperceptibly beginning to fade. You are a part of a world that is moving toward an ending, but you don't know it yet. You just feel the cold and the hunger and the quiet satisfaction of a world that for now is in perfect if slow balance. The air you breathe right now isn't just air. It's a sensory tapestry woven from a million years of history. As you shuffle through the undergrowth, the world comes alive, not just to your eyes, but to your nose. The smell of the ancient forest is a thick, earthy perfume, a base note of damp soil and decaying leaves that have been turning to humus for eons. It's a scent that tells the story of life and death, of the cycle of growth and decay that has sustained your kind for countless generations. Above that, there's the sharp, clean scent of conifer needles, a smell that speaks of cold and high altitudes, a scent carried on the breeze from those encroaching glaciers. Then there are the more subtle, more peculiar notes, the acrid, musky scent of a distant saber-toothed cat on the hunt, the surprisingly sweet, almost cloying smell of a cluster of prehistoric flowers whose petals are a vibrant, unmodern blue. There's the pungent, slightly sour odor of your own kind, a smell of damp fur and digested leaves that is both comforting and familiar. This sensory detail is a mainstream historical fact. Paleontologists use fossilized pollen and chemical analysis of ancient soils to reconstruct the botanical and atmospheric profiles of the Pleistocene. They can tell you what plants grew here, what the air might have smelled like, and what kind of creatures left their scent on the wind. This is your world, and you navigate it, not with a map, but with your nose and your memory. You know which direction the wind carries the scent of a good food patch, and which way to turn to avoid the smell of a rival sloth, or worse, a grumpy mastodon. Your sense of smell is your first and most reliable sense. Your eyes, while functional, are not your primary guides. You are a creature of scent and sound, a living embodiment of an ancient sensory world. Now for a quirky tidbit. There's a theory that some of the plant species that giant ground sloths fed on might have evolved to be poisonous to other herbivores, but not to them. Your digestive system, a massive, slow-moving biological factory, could break down toxins that would sicken or kill a smaller animal. So you're not just a giant, you're also a gourmet with a taste for things no one else can stomach. It's a bit like being a food critic who specializes in super spicy chilies. You have a unique palate and the biological fortitude to back it up. Historians still argue whether the presence of giant ground sloths in a particular area was a sign of a healthy ecosystem or a symptom of an ecological shift. Some researchers believe they were a keystone species, their foraging habits shaping the landscape and creating new habitats for smaller animals. Others think their sheer size and appetite might have put pressure on certain plant species, contributing to their eventual decline. You, of course, have no such thoughts. You are just a big, hungry creature trying to get through the day. As you lumber along, you hear a new sound, the distant, high-pitched chatter of a flock of ground birds. Their frantic calls are a stark contrast to the deep, resonant calls of the other megafauna. They're like a small, caffeinated town crier announcing something to the world in a way that feels a little frantic, a little stressed. You, on the other hand, are the sleepy, unhurried patriarch of the forest, moving with a ponderous dignity that 1,000 years of evolution has bestowed upon you. You are a living testament to the fact that you can't rush perfection. The air thickens with a new smell, a scent you haven't encountered before. It's a sharp, smoky smell, a little like a lightning strike, but with a lingering, artificial warmth. It's unsettling. It's a scent that doesn't belong to the forest, a smell of something new and strange, and for the first time, you feel a prickle of unease. Not fear, not yet. Just a quiet, humming sense of disquiet, like the low-level vibration of a distant earthquake. That sharp, smoky smell, the one that doesn't belong, is more than just a fleeting odor on the wind. It's a scent of change, a subtle tear in the fabric of your world. You don't have a word for it, but you feel it in your bones. An unsettling quiet has begun to creep into the landscape. The familiar sounds of the forest, the low-pitched calls of the mastodons, the rustling of smaller creatures seem a little less frequent. There's a stillness in the air that wasn't there before, a kind of held breath. You're not sure what it is. You just know that a path you used to walk one that was always filled with the busy activity of smaller animals is now eerily empty. A grove of your favorite leafy trees seems to have been stripped bare, not by you, but by something else, something with a speed and efficiency that you don't possess. The world is a puzzle with some of the pieces missing. This slow, creeping change is a mainstream historical fact, and a key driver of the end of the Pleistocene epoch. The climate is shifting again, not just a slow cooling, but a more erratic, unpredictable pattern of warmth and cold. The glaciers, which have been your constant, albeit chilling, companions, are beginning a final permanent retreat. The world is starting to warm, and with that warmth comes a new instability. The stable, predictable world of the Ice Age is becoming a thing of the past. The forest floor, which has always been a reliable banquet, is now more sparse. The plants you depend on struggling to adapt to the new volatile conditions. Now for a quirky tidbit. Some paleobotanists believe that the giant ground sloths might have played a crucial role in dispersing the seeds of certain plants, even those with large, tough seeds. Their digestive systems were so slow and their bodies so large that they could effectively transport seeds over long distances before depositing them as fertilizer. It's a beautiful thought, isn't it? You, the great shaggy landscape gardener, unknowingly planting the seeds of the next generation of forests. You are a slow-moving, plant-propagating ecosystem in your own right. Historians still argue whether the decline in megafauna populations was primarily due to climate change or the arrival of a new, more efficient predator. The truth is likely a combination of both, a kind of perfect storm of ecological pressure. You, of course, just feel the effects, not the theories. You feel the hunger a little more often. You notice the empty spaces in the forest. You sense the growing emptiness in your world. The quiet is getting louder. It's not just the absence of sound. It's the presence of an absence. It's a feeling of being watched, but not by a predator. It's a sense of something intelligent, something new moving in the shadows. The world feels more fragile than it did a century ago. The ground you walk on feels a little less solid, a little less permanent. You are a ghost moving through a world that is already forgetting you. That strange, smoky scent, the one that makes your fur prickle, is a prelude to something you've never seen before. One evening, as you're lumbering toward a familiar sleeping spot, you see it. A fire. But not the kind that is sparked by a lightning strike, a fast-moving, terrifying beast of heat and light. This is a small, contained fire, a flickering orange flower blooming in the darkness. Around it are figures moving with a quickness and purpose that is utterly alien to your slow, ponderous world. They are the new predator. They are bipeds much smaller than you, but they carry a kind of restless energy, a nervous intelligence that you've never encountered. They have strange tools, pointed sticks with sharp rocks attached and flat stones that they use to scrape hides. They move in groups, their quiet, chattering language, a new and unsettling sound in the night. This is an unmainstream historical fact. The arrival of early humans in the Americas, a time known as the Clovis culture, is a pivotal moment in both human and paleontological history. You are witnessing the dawning of a new epoch, one where a small, smart predator will reshape the world in its own image. You don't understand them. They are so small, so seemingly insignificant. How can something so slight be a threat? But you see how they hunt. They don't rely on brute strength or sharp claws. They rely on their brains, on their ability to cooperate, to plan, to anticipate. They are a hive mind of hunters, and that is more terrifying than any solitary, saber-toothed cat. They don't see you as just a pile of tough meat. They see you as a resource, as a source of food, hides, and bone. They see you as a challenge, not an insurmountable one, but one to be overcome. Now for a quirky tidbit. Some paleoanthropologists believe that these early humans might have observed giant ground sloths and even used their old dens as shelters. Imagine this: you're walking along looking for a place to sleep, and you see a small group of these bipeds hunkering down in the very cave you've used for generations. It's a bit like coming home and finding out your new neighbors have moved into your living room and are using your furniture. It's an invasion of your private space, a quiet, almost comical act of appropriation. Historians still argue whether early humans were a primary driver of the megafauna extinction, or simply the final nail in the coffin of a world already buckling under climate change. The truth is likely somewhere in the middle. The climate change weakened the ecosystems, making the animals more vulnerable, and the arrival of a new efficient predator, like humans, delivered the final fatal blow. You are a part of a slow-motion, global domino effect, and you just happen to be the biggest domino in the room. As you turn away from the flickering fire and the chattering figures, you feel a new emotion, one that you've never felt before. Not fear, but a deep, heavy sense of melancholy. The world that you know, the slow, predictable, comfortable world, is ending. These new creatures, with their fire and their tools and their loud voices, are the agents of that change. They are the new sound in the quiet, and it's a sound that you, with all your great size and power, cannot ignore. Your world, is unraveling. The slow, predictable rhythm that has defined your life is being replaced by a frantic, chaotic tempo. The warming that is happening isn't a gentle, welcoming spring after a long winter. It's a jagged, unpredictable shift that throws everything into disarray. The glaciers are in a full final retreat, but their meltwaters create vast new inland seas, reshaping the landscape in a way that is utterly alien to you. The familiar forests are giving way to new plant life species that you don't recognize and can't eat. The world's menu, once so vast and reliable, is shrinking, and with it, your options. You feel the stress in your body. Your gut, that great fermentation factory, struggles to break down the new unfamiliar flora. You feel a constant, low-level ache of hunger, a feeling you've never truly experienced before. You're a creature of plenty, and now you're a creature of want. The lush, broadleaf trees that were your staple are becoming scarcer, replaced by tougher, more fibrous plants that offer little sustenance. This great unraveling is a mainstream historical fact. The end of the Pleistocene megafauna is inextricably linked to the rapid and dramatic climate shifts that characterize the period. It wasn't a single event, but a cascade of interconnected changes that put immense pressure on every living thing. Now for a quirky tidbit. Some researchers have found evidence of what they believe to be ancient, human-made shelters, or at least modified caves within the territories of giant ground sloths. It's a testament to the ingenuity of these early humans, but it's also a deeply unsettling thought. The idea that your territory, your home, your very sense of security is slowly being encroached upon by these small, intelligent creatures is a new and terrifying reality. You no longer have the run of the place. You are a king whose kingdom is slowly being divided and parceled out among a new, more aggressive group of subjects. Historians still argue whether the stress of a changing environment made the megafauna more vulnerable to human hunting, or if human hunting was the main driver of their decline, with environmental changes playing a secondary role. For you, the difference is moot. You just feel the effects of both. The land is less bountiful, and the shadows are more full of threats. It's a double whammy, a 1-2 punch of ecological and predatory pressure that is slowly but surely pushing your kind toward the brink. As you shuffle through a forest that feels more and more like a ghost of its former self, you can feel the desperation of the other animals. The mastodons are bellowing less, their calls more desperate, more mournful. The saber-toothed cats are more aggressive, their hunger-driven attacks more frequent and more reckless. The whole world is on edge, a single taut string that is getting ready to snap. You feel a sense of profound sadness, a kind of geological grief for a world that is slipping away. The slow, rhythmic beat of your life is being replaced by a frantic, discordant noise, and you know with the quiet certainty of instinct that it is a tune you cannot dance to. The great unraveling is accelerating, and you are feeling the consequences in the most profound way. The constant hum of other giant ground sloths, that quiet but reassuring presence of your own kind in the distance, is fading. The forest is becoming a lonelier place. You've walked for days and not encountered another megalonyx. The world is getting quieter, and your heart, if you had one that worked in the human sense, would be aching with the loss. You are a member of a disappearing species, and you can feel the absence of your kin like a physical weight on your massive shoulders. This decline, the dwindling numbers of your kind, is a mainstream historical fact, and a hallmark of the quaternary extinction event. The stress of the changing climate and the relentless pressure from a new predator are a combination your kind simply isn't built to withstand. You are a creature of a slow, stable world, and this new world is anything but. You and your kind are like ships in a storm, and you are a sailing vessel that wasn't designed for rough seas. The slow, dignified dance of your species is becoming a desperate, frantic scramble, and it's a dance you're losing. Now for a quirky tidbit. Some scientists believe that the giant ground sloths might have developed a form of rudimentary social signaling, a series of low-frequency rumbles or bellows that could travel long distances through the ground. It's a way of saying, "I'm here, you're not alone," to your distant kin. But now, when you make that low, mournful sound, there's no reply. The silence is the most terrifying sound in the world, the sound of your species' last chorus. Historians still argue whether the decline of the giant ground sloths was a slow, gradual process or a more rapid collapse. The fossil record is a patchy, incomplete story, but it tells a tale of a once abundant creature becoming a rarity, then a ghost. You, in your present reality, are living through that decline. You see the signs every day, the lack of young, the absence of breeding pairs, the profound, heavy solitude that has settled over your world like a permanent fog. You are a great, slow-moving monument to a world that is vanishing. Your fur, your claws, your very being is a testament to an age that is now a memory. You feel a new emotion, a kind of weary resignation. You are not a creature of despair, but you are a creature of instinct, and your instinct tells you that the end is coming. It's a slow, quiet, inevitable end, like the setting of a sun that will never rise again. The cold is not just in the air anymore. It's a feeling deep in your bones, a low, persistent ache that no amount of thick fur can fully chase away. As the seasons turn, the long, frigid nights become a true test of endurance. You are a creature of immense size, and with that size comes a slow, deliberate metabolism, but even your great body struggles to generate and retain enough heat. The warmth of the sun is a distant memory, a promise made and broken by the fickle climate. You are a living engine running on empty, trying to stay warm in a world that is doing everything it can to freeze you out. This is a mainstream historical fact, and a key component of the quaternary extinction event. The long, cold periods, coupled with the scarcity of food, put immense physiological stress on megafauna like yourself. You're not just fighting off the cold, you're fighting off starvation. Every calorie you burn to stay warm is a calorie that you can't use for something else. It's a cruel, slow-motion feedback loop where the cold makes you hungry, and the hunger makes you more susceptible to the cold. You are a slow-moving target, and the universe has a bullseye on you. Now for a quirky tidbit. There's a theory that the giant ground sloths, in their desperation for warmth, might have sought out geothermal vents or caves with a natural warmth to them. Imagine the scene: a great, shaggy beast, a living mountain of fur huddled against a warm rock, a tiny, fragile island of life in a vast sea of ice. It's a reminder that even the biggest and strongest among us are still vulnerable, still just trying to find a little corner of the world where we can be safe and warm. Historians still argue whether the decline of the giant ground sloths was a slow, gradual process or a more rapid collapse. The fossil record is a patchy, incomplete story, but it tells a tale of a once abundant creature becoming a rarity, then a ghost. You, in your present reality, are living through that decline. You see the signs every day: the lack of young, the absence of breeding. Pairs the profound, heavy solitude that has settled over your world like a permanent fog. You are a great, slow-moving monument to a world that is vanishing. Your fur, your claws, your very being is a testament to an age that is now a memory. You feel a new emotion, a kind of weary resignation. You are not a creature of despair, but you are a creature of instinct, and your instinct tells you that the end is coming. It's a slow, quiet, inevitable end, like the setting of a sun that will never rise again. The quiet is no longer just a symptom of a world in decline. It has become your constant companion. The only sound you can rely on is the rhythmic shuffle of your own massive feet and the whisper of the wind through the newly sparse trees. This is a sound that feels both lonely and strangely sacred. It is the sound of a world forgetting itself, a sound that is slowly erasing the echoes of the mastodons, the saber-toothed cats, and all the other magnificent creatures that once shared this land with you. You are a ghost moving through a land of ghosts. This deepening quiet is a mainstream historical fact, and a hallmark of the end Pleistocene. The megafauna extinction event was a period of profound ecological upheaval, a slow but steady emptying of the world's grand stage. The great migrations of the mastodons have ceased. The bellowing of a herd of mammoths is now just a memory, and the chattering of the smaller, now extinct ground sloths has been silenced forever. You are a survivor, but a lonely one. You feel a profound sense of isolation, a kind of existential sadness that is as deep and as old as the earth itself. Now for a quirky tidbit. There's a theory that the giant ground sloths, in the absence of their usual food sources, might have developed an unusual coping mechanism: geophagy, or the eating of earth. They might have ingested clay or soil to supplement their mineral intake or to help with the digestion of tough, fibrous plants. The thought of it is a little humbling, isn't it? The mighty ground sloth, a creature of such immense power, reduced to eating dirt to survive. It's a reminder of the desperation that sets in when a world unravels. Historians still argue whether the final extinction of your species was a sudden, dramatic event or a slow, quiet fade-out. The fossil record, with its frustratingly large gaps, offers clues but no definitive answer. Was it a final, brutal hunt by a group of humans, a perfect storm of climate change and predation? Or was it a more quiet affair, a slow biological death of a species that just couldn't adapt, couldn't find a mate, couldn't find a reason to continue? You in your present reality are living through that quiet fade-out. The answer to that question is not in a book. It is in the slow, lonely shuffle of your feet and the silence that follows your mournful bellows. As you pause to rest, you notice a new sound on the wind, a faint but distinct scratching. It's not a predatory sound, but a sound of purpose, of design. It's the sound of a small, sharp tool being used by a small, clever creature. The humans are here. They are not a passing threat. They are a permanent feature of this new world. And you know with the quiet certainty of instinct that this new world has no place for you. You are drawn not by instinct, but by a deeper, more profound sense of history, toward a place you've always known, but never fully understood. It's a cave, a massive fissure in a limestone cliff. Face a gaping maw in the earth. You have always given it a wide berth, a place for other creatures, smaller and more frantic than you. But now the cold and the endless search for food has driven you to its shelter. You shuffle toward it, your great body a weary, slow-motion engine. And as you enter the world outside, fades away the wind and the cold, becoming a distant memory. This is a sanctuary, a final harbor, in a storm that has lasted for millennia. Inside, the air is still and cool, but not frigid. It smells of stone and dust and something else, a scent. You know, a scent of your own kind. This cave is a time capsule, a museum of your species' last moments. You see the deep scratch marks on the walls, a testament to the powerful claws of your ancestors. You see the polished ground where countless generations of your kin have slept. You see the scattered bones of the fallen, a stark and final reminder of the inevitability of this journey. This is a mainstream historical fact. Many of the most important megalonyx fossils have been found in caves preserved by the stable dry conditions and often alongside the remains of other Ice Age megafauna. These caves are the last known gathering places of a species on the brink of extinction. Now for a quirky tidbit. There's a theory that the giant ground sloths might have used their powerful claws to intentionally dig out these cave systems, creating new dens for themselves and their young. The idea of a great shaggy beast with the architectural prowess of a modern-day beaver is a funny one. You're a walking, breathing bulldozer, a landscape architect with a taste for leafy greens and a talent for real estate. Historians still argue whether the remains of megafauna in these caves were the result of natural death predation or a final desperate act of seeking shelter. The truth is likely a combination of all three. This cave is a hospice, a graveyard, and a sanctuary all at once. You are a part of a slow geological last stand. The silence in this place is not the lonely, terrifying silence of the outside world. It is a peaceful, heavy silence, a silence of rest and finality. You are not alone here. You are surrounded by the ghosts of your ancestors, the silent witnesses to a world that has already disappeared. You settle your great body down, your breathing a slow, rhythmic bellows that echoes in the darkness. You are home. You're not just in a cave. You're in a tomb. But it's a peaceful one. The final muted light of a setting sun filters through the mouth of the cave, casting long, dusty shadows on the walls. It's a beautiful, melancholy sight. A last kiss from a sun you've seen 100,000 times. This is it. This is your final sunbeam. You feel a profound sense of closure, of a journey reaching its natural, quiet end. You're not scared. You're just tired. The world outside, with all its chaotic newness and its frantic pace, can finally go on without you. This is a mainstream historical fact. The fossilization process is not a random event. The remains of creatures like yourself are often found in geological layers that correspond to major extinction events, a kind of natural slow-motion diary of a world in transition. Your body, your bones, your very essence will become a part of the earth you once walked. You are a living monument, and you are about to become a fossilized one. Your personal legacy is not a kingdom or a dynasty. It is a single perfect story told in stone. A chapter in a book that will be read by creatures who can only imagine the world you inhabited. Now for a quirky tidbit. There's a theory that some of the earliest cave drawings made by humans might have been inspired by, or even directly referenced, the giant ground sloths and other megafauna. Imagine a small human, a creature of fleeting life and profound intelligence sitting in this very cave, drawing your great shape on the wall with a piece of charcoal. It's an act of respect, a recognition of your power, and a final immortalizing gesture. In their art, they have made you eternal. It's a humbling, beautiful thought, a kind of quiet collaboration between the past and the future. Historians still argue whether the final years of the megafauna were marked by a slow decline in their physical health, a kind of species-wide senescence, or if they remained robust and healthy until the very end. The fossil record is once again maddeningly incomplete. But you in this moment are feeling the full weight of a lifetime of struggle. The cold, the hunger, the loneliness, it has taken its toll. You are a weary old warrior, and your last battle is with time itself. And it's a battle you know you cannot win. The final ray of sun disappears, and the cave is plunged into a deep, comforting darkness. You can still feel the warmth of the day on your fur, a final echo of a life well lived. Your breathing slows, your great heart, a steady, patient drum, begins to beat a little more softly. You are not a ghost yet. You are a memory, a story told in a quiet, lonely whisper. You are not just a creature anymore. You are a legacy. As you lie here, a great mountain of bone and sinew, you begin to feel the slow, inexorable pull of the earth. Your physical form, this vessel that has carried you through a lifetime of forest and cold, is beginning its final transformation. The minerals in the soil, the very rock of this cave, are reaching out slowly but surely to claim you. Your magnificent body, this testament to a forgotten age, will become a part of the earth you once walked. It is a powerful, humbling thought. You will not disappear. You will simply change form. This transformation is a mainstream historical fact. The process of fossilization. Over unimaginable stretches of time, the minerals in the water and surrounding soil will slowly replace the organic material in your bones, turning them into stone. Your very essence will be preserved, a perfect geological snapshot of a single moment in time. You will be a silent witness to all the ages that follow, a reminder of the giants that once roamed this land. Your physical form will be a story told in stone, a chapter in a book that will be read by creatures who can only imagine the world you inhabited. Now, for a quirky tidbit. There's a theory that the giant ground sloths in their last moments might have sought out specific, mineral-rich soils to aid in the fossilization of their remains. It's a kind of final, quiet, biological instinct, a species-wide act of self-preservation. It's a beautiful thought, isn't it? The idea that your ancestors in their final moments were not just dying, but were actively trying to leave a record of their existence for a future they could never comprehend. It's a final act of grace, a quiet nod to the future. Historians still argue whether the remains of megafauna in these caves were the result of natural death predation or a final desperate act of seeking shelter. The truth is likely a combination of all three. This cave is a hospice, a graveyard, and a sanctuary all at once. You are a part of a slow geological last stand. The silence in this place is not the lonely, terrifying silence of the outside world. It is a peaceful, heavy silence, a silence of rest and finality. You are not alone here. You are surrounded by the ghosts of your ancestors, the silent witnesses to a world that has already disappeared. You settle your great body down, your breathing a slow, rhythmic bellows that echoes in the darkness. You are home. The time has come. You are not just tired. You are weary on a geological scale. The slow, rhythmic beat of your heart, a drum that has pounded out the rhythm of the Ice Age, is beginning to slow. The final deep breath you take is not a gasp of terror, but a sigh of profound relief. The long, cold night is ending, and a timeless, dreamless sleep is finally mercifully beginning. You are not just lying down for a nap. You are settling in for an eternity. The earth, your great patient mother, is finally coming to claim you. This endless sleep is a mainstream historical fact, and the final ultimate conclusion of the quaternary extinction event. For your species, the long, slow decline ends here in this quiet, dusty cave. The world outside the one with the small, clever bipeds and their fire is no longer your concern. You are a story that is finished, a book that has been closed. Your bones, your fur, your very essence are now a part of the long, slow, patient process of becoming a memory. Now for a quirky tidbit. There's a theory that some of the earliest human myths and legends might have been inspired by the remains of giant ground sloths and other extinct megafauna. Imagine a small group of humans finding your fossilized remains in this very cave, your great powerful claws still intact, your massive frame a testament to a power they could never have imagined. They would have seen you as a god, a monster, a primordial force of nature. In their stories, you will live on a mythic figure in a world that has long forgotten your name. You are not just a fossil. You are a legend. Historians still argue whether the remains of megafauna in these caves were the result of natural death predation or a final desperate act of seeking shelter. The truth is likely a combination of all three. This cave is a hospice, a graveyard, and a sanctuary all at once. You are a part of a slow, geological last stand. The silence in this place is not the lonely, terrifying silence of the outside world. It is a peaceful, heavy silence, a silence of rest and finality. You are not alone here. You are surrounded by the ghosts of your ancestors, the silent witnesses to a world that has already disappeared. You settle your great body down, your breathing a slow, rhythmic bellows that echoes in the darkness. You are home. The final moments arrive now, not with a roar, but with a whisper. Your great body begins to feel impossibly heavy, a kind of pleasant, settling weight. The sounds of the world, even the quiet echoes of the cave, begin to fade. You are drifting not through space, but through time, a slow, gentle passage into the geological record. The images in your mind of the vast cold plains, the bellowing of mastodons, the gentle green of the forest, all begin to soften, to blur, to become a quiet, beautiful dream. The light is gone. The cold is gone. The hunger is gone. There is only peace. You are not a creature of the earth anymore. You are the earth itself, and you are finally home. Your long journey is over. The great colossus, the gentle giant, is now a part of the quiet, patient earth. The wind that whispers over the mouth of the cave now carries no scent of you. The sun that rises and sets will warm the ground above your sleeping form, but it will not wake you. You have entered a deep, timeless slumber, a dreamless sleep that will last for ages beyond counting. Your massive body, this fortress of bone and sinew, is becoming a silent testament, a gentle reminder of a world that once was. You have given your story back to the earth, a story told in stone and silence. Let the quiet darkness embrace you. Let the long sleep wash over you. There is only peace now, sweet dreams.